Welcome to
Half Past Cha.
It's a little different. We've never shown this place before.
No, we haven't.
The Patels, look at that. That's a sign. We're feeling black today. Wait a minute. We're feeling dark today. So we're wearing black clothing.
It's super cold here. It's been really nice in Indiana. Specifically where we are. We did a lot of gardening yesterday, but today it's been really rainy and windy and really nasty outside. So, I don't know. I found my sweatpants. This is not a matching lounge suit, unlike you, Mr. Puma.
Yeah.
You've got that together. I still can't stop laughing.
But
you got that. I just mix and match, so.
But the reason I decided to wear this is because she was wearing it.
Yeah, literally 5 minutes ago, he comes out of the closet, and he just started laughing. It's because he decided to match me, and we're going to go out to dinner. One of us has to change.
No, nobody has to change. But welcome to Half Past Cha, everybody. This is a husband and wife podcast where we talk about life and our experiences being married and being an interracial couple.
Yep.
While we're drinking cha.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
look at us. Look.
Wait, let me grab it.
So that's why it's called Half Past Cha. And today's topics are going to cover a range of things. You know, we have me getting stuck in Fort Lauderdale. I don't know if you've heard the news, but I got stuck in Fort Lauderdale.
Or saw the news.
Yeah, so we are. I was there. I was on it.
You're on the news.
And the next topic is going to be about being married and not being married. Sorry.
No, having friends after college and what that's like.
Having friends after college.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's apparently something that's different than having friends in college.
Yeah, a lot of people, experience a lot of different things. And from our perspective, I think it'd be interesting to provide what we have to say. So
let's just get right into it. Hallie, what happened in Florida?
I think I should ask you.
You explain what happened in Florida, and then I'll explain what happened to me.
Let me just give you the gist of it. The meat and potatoes. So K2 basically is going on a business trip, as he does very often. He travels a lot for his job. He goes to Florida. He does his job. Whatever. He was there. He was supposed to be there, Tuesday, Wednesday. This was supposed to be a really short trip, and we were excited because I thought, yes, he's actually going to be home, a decent time on this day, and he's not going to be gone long. We only have to spend one night apart from each other. It's going to be all good. The weather had different plans because I remember you texting me at 2 p.m. that day. Your flight was supposed to take off at 6, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were texting me. And you were like, I can't get to the rental car place. I said, what do you mean you can't get to the rental car place? And he said, Hallie, it's pouring here. And I was like, what? It always, okay, so in Florida, usually, this is what I've experienced from when I go on vacation there. It rains, and it does it for a little bit, but then it stops and it just kind of blows away. That's not what was happening. The streets, apparently, at this time, were already starting to flood. You were getting a bunch of alerts on your phone. And he was telling me all of this, and I was like, what? What the heck? This is crazy. And, it's probably going to blow over, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
Basically, it was just a really big, crazy storm. And Skate got stuck there. He was supposed to take off at 6. Mm-hmm. That did not happen. You want to go ahead and explain from there?
So, I can take over now. And it's just, the main thing is, it was raining in the same spot for 27 hours, I think it was. So it did not stop raining it rained 1 inch every hour for 27 hours. So there was 27 inches of rain. And when that happens, there's going to be a lot of flooding because there's no infrastructure for something to handle that much rain. And so when I got to the airport, when I was driving in, all the streets were flooded. I couldn't even get to the rental car place, so I had to figure out a way to do that. Eventually getting there, and then I had to get to the airport, which was its own thing because the buses weren't running. So the rental car place is a different location from the airport, so you got to take a bus from the rental car place to the airport. That bus was not running. They said, there's a way to walk there, but you have to do this and that. So I was like, you know what? I guess I'm going to have to do this and that because my flight takes off in 2 hours.
Yeah.
And so I go outside into this massive cyclone of a storm, and get absolutely soaked. I'll see if I can find the clips and put them in case you guys want to see them, and whoever's watching the video version of this podcast. But I cannot believe how much rain was actually falling down. But I made it into the airport. I made it to the terminal that I needed to go to.
Mm-hmm.
And then I look outside where my plane, where my gate is, and it is flooded, underwater. Like, these planes should not be out there,
You
and they
needed
were
a
out there.
submarine, not a plane at this
So
point.
at that point, I knew that I was going to be stuck there for a while, hopeful that maybe my plane would be able to take off. But my plane never even arrived at the airport. I had to divert to Tampa, so I definitely wouldn't get on that plane anyways. But after all of that, we get a notification saying nobody is allowed in or out of the airport. This is at 6 p.m. Nobody's allowed in or out of the airport till 1 a.m. Like,
And then what do you do?
What do I do? I go to sleep. What am I supposed to do?
We
First of
actually
all,
stayed up till 12:30.
Yeah.
We're doing a group movie watch on Disney Plus.
yeah. So,
If he can't sleep, why should I sleep?
well, she was really nice to stay up with me for a little bit longer.
I was
than
freaked
usual.
out. I was really freaked out that all of this was happening.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sad, but and I'll let you go back to your story in a minute. But while all of this was happening and while it was flooding where you are, I was at Chipotle with my friends here in Indiana.
She was having a great time in the sunny weather of Indiana.
We went on a walk and we got ice cream after. So I had a great day, and I didn't even want to tell you about my day because I had a really nice, sunny, beautiful day, and then you were stuck in that insane tropical storm, if you will. I mean, it was nuts.
Yeah. So, it was nuts. And then I had to go from there to Miami to catch a flight.
What time?
This was at like 1 a.m. when they were starting to let us out. And so, first of all my flights that I got rebooked got canceled. So the 1 a.m. notification, I was like 1:23, it said, your flight has been canceled and has not been rebooked. So I have no option but to book a completely separate new flight. And so I had to go from Fort Lauderdale to Miami because that's the only flight that I could book. Everything was canceled out of Fort Lauderdale that entire day. And then even Friday, that whole day was, so 2 days out. I didn't know this at the time, but 2 days out, everything was canceled. And I just assumed that was going to happen.
2 days.
And I had to figure out a way to get from Fort Lauderdale to Miami because I had a flight that I booked at 7 a.m. 7 a.m. in Miami. And it was, at this time, it was, because it took so long to book the flight, everybody was booking other flights. It took so long. It was around 4 a.m. at this point. And I had to get to this airport in flooded streets that were outside. So
How'd you get there?
I took an Uber. It's a Lyft. I took a Lyft. Okay, I want to give Lyft credit because I spent about an hour and 30 minutes trying to get an Uber. Nothing. No Uber would come pick me up. So I went to Lyft. I think it took me 2 or 3 tries to get a Lyft driver to come pick me up. But finally, after a lot of trying, I got a Lyft driver to come get me, and I made the flight, went to Minneapolis and then Indianapolis, and it was the worst 30 hours of my life. But at least I made it home. So that's the story, everybody.
How much was the lift?
The Lyft was like $300. It was expensive.
Did you tipped?
Yes, that was with tip.
So you gave like $100 tip.
Yeah, it was nuts.
And then during all of this, which I couldn't even believe that any of this was happening. It was crazy. And I just wanted him home, obviously. You know, it's like I felt so horrible that you were going through all of this because I know that you just wanted to get home. Of course, you know. And so all of this is happening. It's crazy. And yeah, I'm just glad you're here. You made it back.
Yeah.
It was wild. And I made you some good food when you got home. I made you some chocolate chip cookies. It was a good day. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Because you got home the next day, finally, at 3.
Yep.
You were supposed to be home way earlier. Mm-hmm. And you were not.
Yeah, it was nuts. But anyways, that's the whole story. I was on the news. I'll put a link in the description if you guys want to watch the clip. It was really funny. But it was just about my experience and stuff. But
Well, yeah, you tweeted the videos,
Yeah.
and you had how many people reach out to you?
yeah, there was a lot. There's a lot of news stations. That video on Twitter got like 100,000 views.
Oh my gosh.
So it was nuts for sure.
If you guys know Saketu at all, that will not surprise you because he's been on the news more time. I mean, we counted too. Pretty much, there were like an exception of 2 years from 2014 to 2023.
Yeah.
He's been on the news so much.
It's
He had these interviews on Friday. They were, yeah, I mean, literally, it was right here, and I was just sitting in our bedroom watching, and it was so funny because, he looks professional from here up, and then he's wearing, like, shorts, and, it's just, it was really funny to watch. That was the first interview I've ever, no, it's not. Just kidding. I've seen you do a lot of them.
Yeah.
But you've been on so many different news outlets, it's hard to keep track. Okay, he's a celebrity.
Not really.
Why don't they ever, why don't they say, oh, do you have anyone at home that you wanted to get home to? And you could have said, yeah, my wife. No, he didn't.
No, they never asked that.
I'm here too, I mean, and that's fine. That's fine. That's all fine and dandy. But those pictures right there, you can tell that he's with somebody. Me.
Mm-hmm. But
So
anyways,
that's my claim to fame.
that was a whole situation on its own, and now I kind of want to go into the actual reason
Anything
of
else
this
to
podcast.
add
There's nothing
before we
else.
wrap that up? Okay.
Nothing else to add.
Just that it was dramatic,
It was
I
a traumatic
guess.
experience, and
Yeah.
I want to get on a plane for a while, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to. But that's okay.
Yeah. So I guess the next part of the podcast that we want to move into, what is it, Skate 2?
How to have friends after college.
Yeah.
Okay, this has been a really hard thing for us and for a lot of people we know. It's just like, because when you're in that college environment, you're meeting everybody, or you're seeing people every day. I mean, just like high school.
Yeah.
Like, you have 5 periods or 7 periods with somebody in high school, and then all of a sudden you're in college and you now have 1 to 3 classes a day, and you're not seeing everybody every day. So the transition from high school to college,
That's
that's a different story. And then from college to just normal everyday life, that I think is a more dramatic change than
I agree.
anything, because you're going from seeing people your friends every day, hanging out on the weekends, doing homework together, doing study sessions together, whatever it may be, and then you're going straight into a 9 to 5.
Where you're so isolated most of the time. If you're working from home, that is.
Yeah.
But if you're in the office, it's a different story.
Yeah, and you're working your 9 to 5, and then the only real times you have to spend with your friends are the weekends.
Yeah.
And even then, they might be doing something else on the weekend. So just calculating like when to
Working them into your Google Calendar.
how to like meet everybody on the same page and everything. So let's get into it.
So, yeah, this is something that I think is really important because I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it. I mean, I've seen a few videos and things of how rough the transition can be, but it's honestly so true because when you're in college, now it's different now that we are married and living together, but we would always grab lunch together. You have so many more common interests with people. Say you have a lot of classes with people in your major, you get to, and even though they're not necessarily your best friends or anything, but you have so much in common with them in that time, and you're like, oh, did you do the homework, or oh, you want to go study, or do you want to grab lunch after we study, or whatever it may be. And it's just so much easier to bond with people in college because so many of you guys are going through the same thing, and you're like, oh, I have to study so much. Even my friends who we weren't in the same major, we would stay after classes. We'd stay all night on campus and study and go in the library and go to our favorite area on campus and study and be like, oh, you want to grab dinner after? That doesn't happen anymore. And the reason that we brought this up is because Saketu and I were watching your vlogs from college and realizing how many friends that we hung out with so much more during that time. And it's just such a crazy transition. Like I said, you have so many more common interests, or there's a lot more common ground that everybody has, for starters. And, you just, yeah, it's crazy looking back at some of the videos that we were watching. There was regatta, events on campus that you go to people's dorms, people's apartments, you hang out. There are just so many things that you do, and it's like now, like I was saying, you have to fit people into your calendars, is what it feels like. Because after our day is done during the week, we're tired.
Yeah.
I don't want to go out to dinner with a bunch of friends, or, well, I mean, I do, but like, it's not always feasible to do that. It was much easier when you're all in the same place.
Yeah, and it's also different because, during college, people are in relationships. After college, people are in a different kind of relationship. It's
Yeah.
like they focus on themselves a little more, which is good. That's what you're supposed to do. And then it's hard to fit in, other aspects of friendships into
Yeah.
that relationship.
And you just start to go your separate ways.
Exactly. A lot of people move away, right, as well, right?
Yeah.
They move into different states or
For their jobs or families or whatever.
Exactly. And so they everybody kind of loses touch a little bit.
But you can still keep in touch. That's
Yeah.
not what we're saying. But at the same time,
But it's hard.
It is.
It's hard. So I guess the real question is now, the one we started with, how can you have those friends, Hallie?
Well, definitely finding common interest, obviously. I mean, if you like somebody enough, you're going to keep in touch with them. But, for example, Christina and I play Fortnite together all the time, and that's something that we love to do together, aside from hanging out and doing other fun things. But there are definitely so many different ways that you can keep in touch with people. And I know it sounds kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it doesn't sound great to just send a text. I mean, even if you get back to somebody, like, a day or two later, you could send them a voice memo. Like, I've done that before. And it's like, let me know when you get this. We can talk another time because I know that you're busy. And just trying to be able to work with those people's schedules and fit in time for you guys to actually hang out. And I don't see my friends a ton. I mean, I try and see this weekend, that's a different story. We've been hanging out with a lot of people recently just because the weather's been nice, and I think that's also a part of it too, that the weather's been nicer, and so we've actually been wanting to do things. But one thing that I love to do with my friend Alyssa is we meet up every few weeks or whenever to go on walks together, and we go on really long walks and we just talk, and that's like our really great quality time that we have together. And we could get dinner, or like for some of my friends, I love to go get coffee, and that all depends on where your friends are living. And granted, we're the ones that actually moved away from some of our friends.
Yeah.
So I mean, we live 30 minutes away from where we used to. It's not bad. But you're not super close and not just able to be like, hey, you want to grab ice cream in a few? Or, whatever it may be. So there are definitely different ways. There's that. Snapchat. I Snapchat my friends every day. You can keep in touch in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. The other options, I guess, is also what was I going to say? If you have the option to, a really good way of keeping in touch with a lot of your friends or making new friends is getting roommates.
Oh, that's very true.
So I know a lot of people, especially people I work with, most of them actually still have roommates, but their social life is also benefiting a lot from that because they're not living at home or, confined to their own space. It sucks having to share your space with a lot of people. I get that, but it's also really important to have that social interaction on a daily basis.
Just like we were talking about last week, you said if you don't have that, it increases your likelihood of death by 50%.
Yeah, you don't want to be alone. So
No.
if you have the option for your own apartment, try and find a 2-bedroom where you can have a roommate.
Yeah, or you just make time for your social life as well.
Yeah.
Because just even watching those old vlogs that you made, I'm like, we hang out with each other every day, which I love, don't get me wrong. But it's like things seemed so much more positive, and we always had and we always are doing something, but it's different.
Yeah.
It's very different now, and we're in our mid-20s, right?
Yep.
And it's just, I don't know, it seems so different and so exciting, and college, something's different every day, whereas, as you get older, things get more difficult, and, I don't know.
And then the other thing is to try and meet your neighbors. Facts. It's a great option to
we love
get
our
to
neighbors.
Know who is near you, who is next to you, because if you get to know people that are close to you, it's easier to make time for them.
Yeah.
Whereas people who are further away, it's just too difficult sometimes. Not to say you shouldn't make time for people further away. You
Right.
should, but for the ability to meet people every day or talk to somebody every day, it's good to just go ahead and try and figure out who a really good neighbor is.
Yeah, and we have actually married couple friends. I feel like that's a lot of who we hang out with now, couples, which is really fun. We love that. And we have one in the neighborhood across the street from us. And we literally have a married couple friend, or they're about to be married, next door. And
They're great.
these people are awesome. And like we've been trying to get people to play pickleball because we really like pickleball. Oh, you want to meet up at the pickleball courts here
And that's
in
another
like
point.
an hour?
Getting like those, sports activities or joining a class, workout class of any kind.
Yeah.
That is a huge thing of how to create friends out of college.
Yeah, and I know it can be daunting. It can be really scary to try and make new friends and get out of your shell because believe me, I understand that better than anybody because I don't know, I feel like in the last since working from home times, I feel like you've been the one to get more out of your shell and do things like that, whereas I want to stay in my little circle, and it's hard for me sometimes to socialize and meet new people and be really excited about it, even though I love it after the fact. Sometimes
Yeah.
I don't always feel that way in the beginning or before we're about to do something. I'll be like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I kind of
It's
feel like
just-
staying in, or I don't want to do that today, or whatever. And that can be really hard for a lot of people, and I totally understand that. But yeah, it's at the same time, I love that you push me to do social things and meet new people because it always works out in the end.
Yeah. I agree because I like to meet new people. But the hard thing after you meet those new people, just remember to keep in touch with them because I know that we've met a lot of people this year, and sometimes that's it. We met them. That's all that happened, and now we haven't seen them since we met them. And so that's the hard part. Meeting new people, okay, yeah, it's difficult, but the hard part is making sure you have a consistent relationship, consistent communication with them to keep up with what's happening in their lives, to let them know how what's happening in your lives, and being on the same
Yeah.
page of everything that's happening. That is what truly makes making friends after college or making friends in your 20s successful.
Yeah, and I feel like the relationships as you get older are more special too because it's not just having that college lifestyle common ground in common anymore, but it's having like we have friends, like I said, that are couple friends. They're in serious relationships, and like they understand, I guess, what it's like to live in your own house, to be married, to have a cat, to have full-time jobs, like whatever it may be. You form deeper, more special relationships just as you get older and you're able to express your feelings more and be able to connect better with people. That's something that I've really noticed that I'm able to do better. And because I just, as I've gotten older, I don't want those relationships where it's very surface level. Those have no meaning to me.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds horrible. But you know what I mean. I want
get
the deeper connection with people because that's how I bond with them and I'm able to feel more comfortable and actually be their friend.
And to that point, I kind of want to move into one of our last points, okay?
All right.
This is supposed to help you create conversation with your new friends that you're going to create after watching this, okay?
Okay, yeah.
All right, so these are...
Make
these
a
are-
new friend.
I know we usually do trivia and we usually do this or that, but I'm going to try something different. These are some more like questions that will get the conversation started and
All
get to
right.
know the person, okay?
Let's do a mock conversation.
I'm going to ask Hallie some questions. She's not going to ask me any unless she wants to later on, but I'm going to just ask her some just a few questions, okay? Here we go. What's your favorite way to spend a day off?
Oh, and I answer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're trying to be my friend? Is that the outcome
Yeah,
of
I'm
this?
trying to get to know you a little better.
Okay. My favorite way to spend a day off, let's say if it's in a nicer part of the year, is definitely be outside in any way, whether that be walks,
Mm-hmm.
bike riding, whatever. I love to cook. I love to bake, and really maybe go on a date or do something fun with my
Aw.
husband. So
Well, my favorite ways to spend the day off is usually to make videos. That's what I like to do.
okay.
Question 2. What type of music are you into?
I will pretty much listen to anything. I love when people ask me that question, by the way. I will pretty much listen to anything, but there are definitely different genres of music that I prefer over others. I really like alternative music or maybe like pop-ish, kind of. It depends. That one's iffy. But I like more of the alternative, laid-back kind of music.
What are your hobbies, and how did you get into them?
I do photography. My husband got me into that.
Really?
I love exercising. I got myself into that. Cooking, baking, that's always something that I've done with my mom growing up. I think that's about it.
Okay, and then what was the last thing you read?
Ooh, the last book that I read was Looking for Alaska. I've never read that book before, and I always wanted to read it. It was like a high school book that it was an option that you could read it based on the English class that you were in, and I chose not to, which I wasn't into reading then. But that was the last book I read, and it was really good.
Wow. Mine was No Pickers from Outer Space.
Yeah, and how long ago was that?
5th grade.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
So let's see. Let's ask one more question, and then I will also link some more questions if you guys are interested in finding good, deep, thought-provoking questions on top of just, normal, easy to ask questions. Okay. So what was the last TV show you binge watched?
What was it?
I think it was You.
You? Yeah, You season 4.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was a good one.
So basically, yeah, we watched.
Oh, wait, we got to do this. We got to do this one.
Okay.
Are you into podcasts, or do you only listen to music?
I'm into podcasts.
Yeah, you better be. You better be. Okay.
But basically, okay, so I like these questions, and this is a good conversation starter for a lot of people. And basically what this is telling me, and I think the message here, is that you have to put an effort to try and create a good relationship with people, if that's what you want. Aside from just saying how the weather is or whatever it may be, you have to actually put an effort.
Yes.
And that's what
Getting
I
to
try and do.
Fully know them.
Yeah, and that's so important because then it's like things are just easy when
Yeah.
you put in the effort in the beginning to really try and get to know somebody, and then you can end up having a great relationship with somebody. You might be surprised. Who knows?
Yep. The hard part is also for me is, you ask these questions, but then remembering the answers to those questions, so the next
Being
time you
fully
meet,
focused.
you can bring those answers up. That makes the other person feel like
Oh, they remembered. They
they
care.
remembered, they cared. We're gonna be friends forever.
This will be a beautiful. This is the start of a beautiful friendship.
Yes.
I
So,
remember when we were first becoming friends.
Yeah.
We had a lot of good, deep conversations, talks, question asking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Those
Why'd
were
you say it
good
like that?
times.
Jeez. Yeah.
But
yeah, no. And I feel like that's why we've been able to establish a very deep relationship today.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. That's all we really wanted to talk about. So, Hallie, would you like to close us out?
Yes, absolutely. The main point that we hope that you got from this is that don't be scared to put yourself out there a little bit and try and be social and try and just meet some people. You never know what's going to happen. What's the worst that could happen? They say no, they don't want to be your friend. And, you might be surprised by who you become lifelong friends with. So with that, I will close this out. Thank you guys for listening. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you are on YouTube. Subscribe if you are on a podcast service. And lastly, just go ahead and share this with your friends, family, and fellow jaw drinkers. Lastly, we will catch you. I already said lastly. And we will catch you next Monday at 1:30 jaw.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.